Welcome then guys to Monday's live stream, and I'm JWF1 and we are here for the mid-season test here at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. It's pretty much that time of season once again where the mid-season test happens for the top class, and it gives teams an opportunity to test out new things, test out certain test drivers as well, and all sorts of things. Unlike previous seasons where it's been held at Catalonia, this time around it's being held at the Red Bull Ring. Sadly there's no Grand Prix this season at Austria, but hopefully we'll have one again next season. But we have a bright and sunny day here in the Styrian region, and hopefully it should be an interesting testing session. So before we start then, let's quickly doss over who the drivers are going to be for today's mid-season test, and here they are. So driving for Etihad today will be Artem Markelov and Charles Leclerc. For Bud Light Line you'll be seeing Antonio Giovinazzi and Felix Rosenqvist. For Eldorado you'll be seeing Valtteri Bottas and Scott Dixon. For EMR you'll be seeing Sebastian Vettel and Nico Hülkenberg. Suomi, Nico Kari and Patrick Kajala. GRM, you'll be seeing Daniel Ricciardo and Antonio Felix da Costa. Monster, debuting their two new test drivers since Daniel Macaro took over in the form of Robert Schwartzman and Arjun Maini, I should say. AMP, you'll be seeing Mick Schumacher and Santino Ferrucci. Martini, Esteban Ocon and George Russell. Shadow, Carlos Sainz Jr. and Felipe Nasr. And finally Mars, you'll be seeing Ed Jones and Joseph Newgarden. So they are the drivers taking part. Whoops, wrong graphic there. Taking part in the mid-season test today. Bright and sunny as mentioned, with the return of TV graphics. So without further ado, let's get to the hour mid-season test here at Spielberg. So here we are then in the pit lane. As mentioned, the TV graphics make a full-on return for today, and we're at the end of the pit lane with Santino Ferrucci, so we will wait and get this session underway. Of course, it's an hour session. That hour has already just started, and we just wait for some pit activity to get us underway in this testing session. And if you didn't see what happened yesterday in the European Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton completely dominating the race ahead of Kimi Räikkönen and Valtteri Bottas, of course. Here is George Russell coming out on track. He's the first one to come out for Martini. And Martini have put in an appeal against Max Verstappen's qualifying ban for the United States Grand Prix due to the fact that, along with Etihad Racing, they believe that there was no yellow flags when Max Verstappen crashed into the side of Sergio Perez, so he wasn't aware that there were yellows up at Coppice. So it is being investigated. The stewards will be having another look at that footage to see if there were yellow flags or not, and then a verdict will come out either Wednesday or Thursday. It will be before the United States Grand Prix next weekend at COTA, but the verdict will either be Wednesday or Thursday. We'll just have to wait and see on that. Depends how thoroughly they'll go into this investigation. So now, Russell out on track for Martini as mentioned. Also on track we have Nico Kari in the Suomi. He's out there as well. Also on track, Ed Jones in the Mars Grand Prix car, out on track as well. We also have Carlos Sainz Jr. out here for the Shadow team. Joseph Newgarden out on track as well, as is Mick Schumacher for AMP. He's out on track now then, as he just goes around the left-hander on the track. We also have Scott Dixon out there for Eldorado, driving for Eldorado today, unlike the previous day where the previous couple of days where he's been driving for Mars as a Grand Prix driver. Also on track we have Felix Rosenqvist, the man currently lying second in the GP2 Championship this season. Artem Markelov, who is going to be making a return to racing with GP2 and Academy in Belgium as a result of Mick Schumacher being forced to sit out Belgium due to what he did to his teammate Pierre Gasly. So we'll be seeing Markelov at Belgium for Academy in GP2. Antonio Felix da Costa out on track as well. We also have Santino Ferrucci in the AMP. Valtteri Bottas out on track, finally getting a podium yesterday at Donington. And Ocon out on track as well for Martini. We also have Daniel Ricciardo out there as well for GRM. As Russell's currently on a lap, and that is his middle sector there then, as he'll now go up towards the final two corners on the track. And let's see what Russell's able to do now then, as he just flicks the car in through the final two corners. He'll be setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat as he comes down the pit straight, and across the line he will go. What's the time going to be? It's a 1 minute 8.278. Kari beats that though by 0.5 of a second, so Kari going to the top there then. P3 for Ed Jones. Carlos Sainz Jr. slots to second in the shadow. Here comes Joseph Newgarden. Now, another note as well. 3 of the 11 teams have taken upgrades here for the mid-season test. They were allowed to bring an upgrade for the mid-season test, unlike the pre-season. So, 3 teams have... 3 out of 11 teams have brought upgrades here for this mid-season test. Schumacher goes into third with that lap, as Dixon goes fastest by 0.3 of a second, but he's beaten by Rosenquist, who goes top. Markelov slots into second place of that lap. Da Costa slots to 7th. Here comes Santino Ferrucci in the AMP, as he will now cross the line, and he goes 6th fastest with that lap. Valtteri Bottas across the line to go fastest by 0.3 of a second. So Bottas going top with that lap. Ocon now then across the line he will go, and he goes into 9th place with that lap. So Ocon P9. Daniel Ricciardo across the line he will go into 10th. So P10 for him. Anybody else doing another flying lap? Let's have a look. It doesn't appear like it. Everybody seems to be just doing the one flying laps to start off with. So at the moment, as we have 4 minutes of the session gone, it's Bottas top, Rosenquist second, Markelov third, Dixon fourth, Kari fifth, Sainz in sixth, with Ferrucci 7th, Schumacher 8th, Ocon 9th, Ricciardo 10th, Da Costa in 11th, with Russell 12th, Newgarden 13th, and Jones in 14th position. So that's how the leaderboard currently stands in this mid-season test. As Ricciardo now then will come up towards the right-hander on the track, using a tad bit of curb on the outside before approaching the double left-hander. And Ricciardo, of course, coming back into the pits this lap, and we should be seeing some more cars coming out quite soon in this session, as Ricciardo just goes around the right-hander before approaching the last 2 corners on the track, and we'll be seeing him flick into the pits this time around. And so that's that really. Ricciardo now then in the pits as we wait for some more cars to come out. One of them being, as we just saw there briefly, is the EMR of Nico Hülkenberg. EMR had a dreadful home race at Donington yesterday. Hülkenberg, who qualified third, was unable to get a podium as a result of some unseen contact that happened, which resulted in him changing his front wing. And even Vettel looked to have got caught up as well. Vettel managed to recover to 5th, but Hülkenberg retired later on in the race thanks to a water leak. It's the same issue as what Esteban Ocon retired with a few laps later. Meantime, Sebastian Vettel, speaking of EMR, is now out on track and looking to see to gather some data for the EMR team here at Spielberg, as now he will approach turn number 3 on the track, as he uses quite a bit of curb on the outside there then before approaching the double left-hander. And so Vettel now then using a bit of curb on the outside before approaching the left-hander, and Vettel using a little bit of curb before approaching the last 2 corners, and we'll be seeing him starting his lap quite soon now then, as he will now just go through the final 2 corners. Up towards the final corner he will go, and Vettel will be about to start his lap as he heads down pit straight, and Vettel has just started his lap. Also on track we have Antonio Giovinazzi out there as well, along with Carlos Sainz Jr., Patrick Kajala out there as well, as is Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Artem Markelov, Felipe Nasr out there as well, as is Arjun Maini. Nico Hülkenberg out on track. Vettel's just started up. Robert Schwartzman is out on track for Monster. Schumacher back out, and Bottas is just coming out onto the track, as is Santino Ferrucci. So now we're going to go back to Sebastian Vettel, who's 700 down of Bottas in the first sector there, as he comes up towards the right-hander, and using a tad bit of curb on the outside before approaching the double left-hander now then. Vettel flicking the car in, using a lot of curb on the outside, and he's now 100th up in the second sector, so Vettel gaining a bit of time there in the second sector. Clearly that part of the track suiting the EMR, as we now come up towards the final 2 corners on track, and let's see what Sebastian is able to do now then. Up towards the final corner and onto the pit straight now then comes Sebastian Vettel, and is this going to be the fastest time across the line? He goes, and it is by 0.2 of a second. Vettel goes to the top of the timing sheets in the EMR, as Robert Schwartzman behind starts a lap. Mick Schumacher out there as well. Here comes Antonio Giovinazzi. Looked like he got held up on his lap and improves, but stays in 10th place. Still a second adrift from Sebastian Vettel. Carlos Sainz Jr. across the line he will go, and he stays in 7th place for the moment. Patrick Kajala in the Suomi crosses the line to go 3rd fastest with that lap, so Kajala doing a good job as well. Leclerc only 6th with that lap, as Bottas starts his next lap on the track, as does Santino Ferrucci. as he will now come up towards the final 2 corners. George Russell looked like he got held up on his lap there, 2.5 seconds off as a result. Markelov goes up to 2nd with that lap, so an improvement there for Artem, as Nazar goes 13th. Here comes Arjun Maini now then, as he heads down the pit straight. Maini crosses the line, and he goes 18th with that lap, so that's that for the Indian driver there then. Here comes Nico Hulkenberg, who heads down the pit straight, and Hulkenberg crosses the line to go 2nd fastest at the moment, so it's an EMR 1-2. Hulkenberg slots into 2nd place with that lap. Here comes Robert Schwartzman, the Russian driver now then, coming through the final 2 corners, and let's see what Schwartzman's able to do now then, as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he goes 17th for that lap, so Robert Schwartzman 17th for him. Mick Schumacher stays where he is at the moment, which is P12 at this stage. Leclerc back in the pits. Here comes Valtteri Bottas, who's currently 4th for the moment, behind the 2 AMRs and Artem Markelov. Bottas now then, is he looking at an improvement? Across the line he will go, and no he can't, stays 4th with that lap there then, as Ferrucci stays where he is at the moment, which is P11, so far outpacing teammate Mick Schumacher today. And so that's that for him really, as now anybody else on the lap, it doesn't appear like it. So now we'll look at Ferrucci, who goes up towards the Remus curve. The leaderboard then, after 10 minutes of action, looks like this. Vettel tops, Hulkenberg 2nd, Markelov in 3rd, Bottas 4th, Kajala 5th, Rosenqvist in 6th, with Leclerc 7th, Dixon 8th, Kari 9th, Sainz in 10th, with Ferrucci 11th, Schumacher 12th, with Giovinazzi 13th, Nasser 14th, Ocon 15th, Ricciardo 16th, Schwartzman 17th, Da Costa 18th, Russell 19th, Maini 20th, with Newgarden 21st and Jones in 22nd position. The 2 Mars cars rounding off the back of the field at the moment. And as mentioned, Ferrucci will be coming back into the pits this lap. And you can definitely tell how much the Suomis have gained since pre-season testing. It must be said how much pace they've managed to gather back. How much they've leaped forward from pre-season testing, it must be said, because Kajala and Kari were pretty much nowhere in pre-season testing, but now it seems with this improved package, it seems that they're able to get them into the top 10 at the moment. Clearly it's shooting Nico and Patrick's driving style at the moment. And so that's that. Scott Dixon out on track, and it seems the Eldorado has also come leaps and bounds, because Dixon was nowhere in pre-season testing, but now finds himself up in 8th place at the moment. And doing a solid job, it must be said, in the car, as Dixon now then comes up towards turn 1 and flicking the car in before approaching the Remus curve. And the sparks coming out the back of the car now then before approaching Remus now then. And let's see what Dixon's first sector is going to be like as he comes out of the corner. And he's 900 off in the first sector there then. So it seems that everybody's pretty close in the first sector, it must be said. I think the first sector really is not really much of a skill really. It's more of a straight if anything. As now Dixon just goes through the right hand at the moment. Dixon finding himself in 8th place at the moment. But as the track starts to rubber in, should expect some improvements in terms of lap time. Dixon, let's see what his second sector is like. 2/10 down that time around. Maybe the Kiwi could be on for an improvement, but we will wait and see if that is the case, as he will now come up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And let's see where Scott Dixon is able to slot himself there then, as he heads down the pit straight. And Dixon now then across the line he will go, and he improves to go up to 6th place at the moment, so P6 for Dixon. Kari starts a lap behind him now then. Anybody else on a lap? Felix Rosenqvist in the Bud Light Lime. Rosenqvist currently 7th, and his second sector is 900 down. So Rosenqvist looking at improving. It's very clear that not everybody's first flying lap was their best one, it seems. As now Rosenqvist will come up towards the final 2 corners then. And let's see what Felix is able to do now then, as he heads down the pit straight. And Rosenqvist now then is going to cross the line, and he goes up to 5th place with that. That's P5 for Rosenqvist. Giovinazzi about to start a lap. Jones, meantime, stays where he is at the moment, which is last, still being outpaced by GP3 Championship leader Joseph Newgarden. Here comes Charles Leclerc in the Etihad. Leclerc now then across the line goes the Monegasque driver, and he goes fastest for the moment. So Leclerc now goes to the top by 1/10 of a second, beats Vettel off the top. Leclerc now fastest in this session, as now Hulkenberg heads down the pit straight himself to start a lap. And Hulkenberg now then will approach turn 1. Here comes Nico Kari. Across the line he will go to go 9th for that lap, so an improvement there for the young Finn. Ocon now then crosses the line himself, stays where he is at the moment, as does Kajala, both of them staying in 15th and 7th respectively. Da Costa stays in 18th. Vettel now goes fastest, but only by 0.02 of a second there. So Vettel goes back to the top by 0.02 ahead of Leclerc. So quite close there between the top two. Nasser now then has crossed the line, doesn't improve, stays in 14th. Newgarden stays 21st at the moment. As here comes Robert Schwartzman, across the line he will go, and he improves but stays in 17th for the moment. Here comes Antonio Giovinazzi, across the line he will go to go 6th for that lap, so Giovinazzi popping himself into the top 6 for that lap. So now we look at Nico Hulkenberg, currently finding himself in 3rd place, 1/10 down at the moment in the second sector. And now Hulkenberg will approach the final 2 corners. This is going to be an improvement for the German. Let's see. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight then goes Nico Hulkenberg, and across the line he will go, and he doesn't improve, stays in 3rd for the moment. So that's that for Hulkenberg at this stage. As trying to look for somebody else who is on a lap. It doesn't appear like anybody else is on a lap at this stage. So a lot of improvements coming in that time around. But so far then, this is what the leaderboard looks like. Vettel top, Leclerc 2nd, Hulkenberg 3rd, Markelov 4th, Bottas 5th, Giovinazzi 6th, Rosenquist in 7th, with Kajala in 8th, Dixon 9th, Kari 10th, Sainz in 11th, with Ferrucci 12th, Schumacher 13th, Nasser 14th, Ocon 15th, Ricciardo 16th, Schwartzman 17th, Da Costa in 18th, Russell 19th, Maney in 20th, with Newgarden 21st, and Jones in 22nd position. So that's currently how it stands at this stage. Hulkenberg going back into the pits this lap, as his teammate Vettel heads the board in this mid-season test. As Hulkenberg now then up towards the final 2 corners on the track he will go, as he now peels it into the pits. So Hulkenberg now then in, and now is there anybody else on track now? Yes, Arjun Maney is now out on track, the Indian driver, currently finding himself in 20th in the monster car, as he now just flicks the car in through the corners, and now he will go up towards the final 2 corners then, and Maney will be starting his lap quite soon now then, as Maney now then comes down the pit straight, and let's see what Maney is going to be capable of as he just starts his lap and now approaches turn 1 on the track now then. Maney flicking it in through turn 1, and he'll now head down towards the Remus curve now then for the first time on this lap, of course. Well, the second time I should say. Let's see what his first sector is. So 3/10 down in the first sector at the moment. Maney currently 20th, 1.6 seconds. I believe that's his 6. Yes, 1.6 seconds off Sebastian Vettel at the moment. As Maney now then flicks the car in through turn number 3 there before approaching. That was 4 in towards 5. Now then we go. In total, there are 9 corners here and here at Austria. As now. Maney finds himself 9/10 down in the second sector. Whether he's able to gather that back into the last sector, we'll see as he approaches the final 2 corners on the track. And let's see what Arjun is able to do then on this lap. The Indian driver now then goes down the pit straight, and across the line goes Arjun Maney, and he improves but stays in 20th place. So there was an improvement there, just not on position at the moment. Here comes Valtteri Bottas coming out of the second sector. He's 1/10 down of Vettel in the second sector, so the Finn could be on for an improvement, but we'll wait and see what Bottas is able to achieve now then, as he will now come up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And Bottas now then around the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, and across the line goes Valtteri Bottas, and he goes up to 4th with that lap, so an improvement for Valtteri to get up into P4 at this stage. Here comes Artem Markelov in the Etihad racing car. And it must be said that team boss of Mars Grand Prix, Andy Graham, seems to underrate this guy quite a bit. But Etihad have high hopes for this Russian guy, that he'll be a star of the future. As Markelov does not improve, he stays 5th at the moment in the Etihad. Jones improves but stays in last at the moment. Sainz stays in 11th. Here comes Felix Rosenquist. Across the line he will go to stay in 7th place. Scott Dixon crosses the line, stays in 9th at the moment. Russell got held up, it looked like, by Dixon, and stays 19th with that lap. Here comes Daniel Ricciardo Up towards the final corner he will go. As now round the final corner and onto the pit straight we will go. And let's see what Ricciardo will do. He improves but stays 16th for the moment. So it shows how much the GLM has gone backwards since the pre-season test that Paul Ricard and the ref respectively. Schumacher now led down the pit straight and across the line goes Schumacher. And he stays in 13th. His teammate was right behind him there, Santino Ferrucci. He stays 12th. Newgarden waiting in the pit lane to come out quite soon. Nico Kari in the Suomi crosses the line, and Kari stays in 10th at the moment. He's in the cusp of the top 10 at this stage. Da Costa stays 18th. Here comes Esteban Ocon. Down the pit straight he will go, and Ocon crossing the line and stays where he is at the moment, which is P15 at this stage. And so that's pretty much that then for him. Nobody else appears to be doing a lap at this stage. So obviously yesterday in Donington there was a lot of overtaking. A lot of people thought that when coming into the weekend at the European Grand Prix, judging from the layout of the track, there wouldn't be any overtaking, but the top class GP2 and GP3 proved that to be wrong, as we saw quite a lot of overtakes in the top class, mainly up at Coppice Corner and sometimes sometimes at the Fogarty S's, and sometimes even a dive down at the Melbourne Hairpin as well. And sometimes as well, if they had a good enough run, depending on what car they had, especially in the Etihad's case against the Mars Grand Prix car, they were able to pull off a move at McLean's. So it seemed to have proved a lot of people wrong, and it was quite an exciting race yesterday. It wasn't the best race we've had, I must say. I think Spain still tops that according to the majority of the teams, and I'm with them on that one. But yeah, it was still a good race nonetheless. And Lewis Hamilton now leads the Drivers' Championship in the top class by 2 points ahead of Fernando Alonso, with Perez 11 points back now from the Championship leader. Perez still third in the Drivers' Championship at this stage. As meantime, we've had some track activity in the form of Joseph Newgarden. So Newgarden out on track in the Mars Grand Prix car, and it seems how much at the moment the Mars Grand Prix car not as developed as what the rest of the teams are, but is expected from a new team, of course, and it definitely shows because Newgarden showed some good pace in pre-season testing despite the car he was in. But then other teams started upgrading, and Mars have just been at the back of the field at the moment. They were expecting that, of course. They weren't expecting things to happen straight away. It is a long-term commitment for the team as they hope to do well, possibly even next season or the season after, depending on how the development goes on the V12 engine. At the moment, 4 attempts down in the first sector. There goes Joseph Newgarden, the man who leads the GP3 Championship in IFMC GP3, of course, and with DC Eldorado Jr. And he's having quite a nice battle in the championship with Ferdinand Hasberg in the early stages. Whether those two will fight it out for the championship towards the end, and maybe even joined by the likes of Kubica and Aitken, who've shown signs of promise this season. We will wait and see, but at the moment it's looking like Newgarden and maybe even Powell could get involved. Who knows after his victory yesterday, but it does look like that Hasberg and Newgarden, from the early stages at least, look to be the main contenders for the GP3 title. As Newgarden now then comes down the pit straight, and let's see what Joseph Newgarden is able to do. He does not improve, and Newgarden stays in 21st for the moment, still outpacing teammate Jones at the moment at this stage. As now we look at Antonio Giovinazzi in the Bud Light Lime. He will now approach the double left-hander, and let's see what his second sector is going to be like. He's 8 tenths down in the second sector at the moment. And so now up towards the last 2 corners on the track now then. And let's see what Giovinazzi is able to do. And he's now going to cross the line. And Giovinazzi does not improve. He stays 6th at the moment. As Patrick Kajala stays in 8th place for the moment. Schwartzman stays 17th. Ricciardo is starting a lap. Here comes Charles Leclerc in the Etihad. Is this going to be an improvement then for the Monegasque driver? No, it's not. He stays 2nd at the moment. Still 2 thousandths behind Sebastian Vettel at the moment. Russell starts a lap behind. As here comes Nico Hülkenberg, currently 3rd at the minute. Let's see what Nico is able to do. As he now heads down the pit straight, and Hülkenberg now then is going to cross the line. and Hulkenberg does not improve, stays third on that lap. Sebastian Vettel doesn't improve, says on 1 minute 7.272. Vettel currently the fastest at the moment. Nasser goes up to 14th. Markelov looked like he got held up and stays in 5th place. As now we look at Valtteri Bottas, who heads across the line and improves, but stays in 4th place, taking more chunks. As we've got a spinner at the last corner, it's Arjun Maini. Arjun Maini has spun at the final corner. Did he just push a little bit too hard there then for the Indian driver? With just over 37 minutes remaining in this mid-season test, and it was understeer. It seemed he caught the gravel and has spun round at the last corner. I don't know if anybody's approaching him at this stage. It didn't look like it, so Maini's lap there just got ruined. A very dramatic spin, it must be said, for the Indian driver. First time in a top-class car for him, and as a result, stays 20th with that lap. Who knows, he could have been on for an improvement. Sainz improves to go 11th, so that's that for him at this stage. As we now look at Daniel Ricciardo in the GRM, who heads down the pit straight, and Ricciardo will cross the line to stay 16th at this stage. So we now look at George Russell in the Martini, and Russell stays 19th for the moment, so no improvement for him as far as he is concerned. As Markelov still getting held up by Nasser, it appears now then, as everybody's going back into the pits this lap, as it looks like Schumacher will be coming out quite soon then. So with 24 minutes of the session gone, here is what the leaderboard looks like then at this stage. Vettel top, Leclerc second, Hulkenberg third, Bottas fourth, with Markelov in fifth, and then it is Giovinazzi sixth, Rosenqvist seventh, Kajalo in 8th, Dixon 9th, Kari 10th, Sainz 11th, Ferrucci 12th, Schumacher 13th, Nasser 14th, Ocon 15th, Ricciardo 16th, Schwartzman 17th, with Da Costa 18th, Russell 19th, Maini 20th, Newgarden 21st, and Jones in 22nd position. So far, that's what the current leaderboard looks like at this stage. Russell, of course, going back into the pits for Martini, so he'll be going back in. As we now look at Dixon, who heads down the back straight towards turn number 3 on the track. So Rosenqvist is going out onto the track. We also saw Mick Schumacher go out as well, along with Scott Dixon as mentioned. So Dixon currently in 9th place at this stage, as now we approach the right-hander now then, and now we will go up towards the final 2 corners. Dixon about to start his next flying lap as he heads down the pit straight, and Dixon now then starting his lap as he will now approach turn 1 on the track. As he breaks down through the gears in towards turn 1, he will go, as he now goes up towards turn 2 now then, as the sparks come off the back of his car now then. Up towards turn 2 then goes Scott Dixon, and let's see what his first sector is like. And he is 900ths off Vettel in the first sector there then. The Ferrari powered Eldorado heads down towards turn 3 on the track, and so now as a big lock up there then for Scott Dixon going down towards turn 3 there, and well, that was that really. A little bit of a, that looks like maybe Dixon's lap there got ruined as a result of the lock up on the front right tyre there going in towards turn 3, as now through towards through the turn 6 and 7 he just went there. Now in towards the final 2 corners he'll go, turn 8 and 9. Let's see what Dixon is able to do now then on this lap. Down the pit straight goes Scott Dixon. Is this going to be an improvement for him? And no, it's not. He stays at the moment in P9, so that's how it looks at this stage. Here comes Mick Schumacher now then, heading through the final 2 corners on the track, and let's see what Schumacher is able to do as he heads down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and Schumacher stays in 13th place at this stage, so still 13th is Schumacher. Here comes Felix Rosenqvist now then, he will head round the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. Rosenqvist across the line, and he stays in 7th. Behind him, Charles Leclerc has just started the lap. Da Costa goes up to 18th, or stays in 18th, but improves on his best time. Ferrucci across the line he will go, and Ferrucci stays in 12th at this stage. As now we look at Nico Kari, who heads down the pit straight, and Kari will cross the line to go up into 8th place there. So an improvement for Kari to get in front of teammate Patrick Ajala. Vettel across the line, and he improves by 0.03 of a second. So now he's 5 thousandths clear of Vettel. Ajala goes up to 8th, so he gets back in front of teammate Kari. Newgarden stays 21st. Jones stays 22nd at this stage. Nasser starting a lap behind, as Hulkenberg starting a lap. Here comes Ocon. Around the final 2 corners on the track he will go. Let's see what Esteban is able to do as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line will go Ocon, and he does not improve with that lap. Ocon staying in 15th for this stage. So now we look at Charles Leclerc, who heads around the final 2 corners now then, as one of the Bud Light lines went in the pits. Luckily it didn't impede Leclerc there. Let's see, across the line he will go, and no, he doesn't improve. Stays 5 thousandths behind Vettel at this stage. So that's that for Leclerc at the moment in this testing session. Here comes Nasser towards turn number 5. And his second sector is 7/10 off Vettel. Nasser currently 14th at the moment in this mid-season test. His teammate up in 11th, Carlos Sainz Jr. As now we go up towards the final 2 corners. Let's see what Nasser is able to do on this lap then. Around the final corner and onto the pit street goes the Brazilian, as he will now cross the line, and Nasser stays in 14th place. So if you can hear my dog in the background. Hulkenberg stays 3rd at the moment. So that's that at this stage. Still 3rd for Hulkenberg, unable to make an EMR 1-2 at this stage. Here comes Antonio Giovinazzi now then in the Bud Light line, just going out onto the track. And so he now goes out of the pit lane, as he will now approach the right-hander of the Remus curve. And let's see then, up towards turn 2 he goes now then, as he will now head down the back straight before approaching the right-hander. And Giovinazzi now then breaking in towards the right-hander he will go, as he uses quite a bit of curb on the outside there then before approaching the left-hander. Through the left he will go. Giovinazzi about to start a lap at the moment in the Bud Light line, with just over half an hour of the session remaining. Here at this mid-season test, Carlos Sainz Jr. now out on track as well for Shadow. We also have Arjun Maini out there as well. Robert Schwartzman out on track as well. We also have Mick Schumacher out there. Valtteri Bottas has come back out. We also have Artem Markelov coming back out in the ETL. We'll also be expecting Ferrucci, Russell, Dixon, Ricardo, Jones, and maybe a couple of more, depending on the 2 that spawn, because there's 2 guys who have been on old laps who've just come back into the pits. So now we will get to Antonio Giovinazzi, who's now on the lap as he comes up towards Remus, and see what his first sector is like. And he's actually 400ths up on Vettel in the first sector, so Giovinazzi finding some pace in the Bud Light line, and let's see if he's able to keep that up in the second sector. Giovinazzi 400ths up in the first sector in the Bud Light line as he comes out of the turn number 3 now then, as here comes Giovinazzi going through towards turn 5 on the track, and now up towards turn 6 we go. And now Giovinazzi has lost a 10th in the second sector, because he's now 0.121 down off Vettel in the second sector. Will he be able to gather that back though in the last sector as he now approaches the last 2 corners on track? Then let's see what Giovinazzi is able to do now then, as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes the young Italian, and he stays in 6th place, losing a lot of time there in the last 2 sectors. So that's that then for Antonio Giovinazzi. Looks like teammate Rosenquist will be coming out soon. Sainz looks like he's getting held up by Russell, and as a result Sainz stays in 11th with that lap as Ricardo starts one. As here is Robert Schwartzman in the monster car, as Maini improves his teammate to go up to 19th place. So up to 19th goes Maini, pushes Russell down to 20th. As now we look at Robert Schwartzman, his teammate for today, the Russian, now then coming up towards the final 2 corners then, and let's see what Schwartzman's able to do as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line he will go. And Schwartzman stays 17th for the moment as Da Costa behind starts the lap, as does Dixon. Mick Schumacher now then, across the line he will go, and Schumacher stays in Schumacher stays 13th for the moment as Bottas stays in 4th. Here comes Artem Markilov in the Etihad. And Markilov, is this going to be an improvement then for the Russian? It is. He goes up to 4th, so pushes Bottas down to 5th. Markilov up into 4th place at the moment in this test. Here comes Santino Ferrucci. Up towards the final corner he will go and onto the pit straight. Ferrucci now then going across the line, and Ferrucci stays in 12th place for the moment. So that's that for him. As off goes George Russell. He's lost the front wing. Russell has lost the front wing. What on earth happened there for the young Brit? As Russell was currently on a lap. Let's have a look then as he goes through the final 2 corners. And let's see now then. And he locks up into the final corner and smacks it into the wall, losing half a front wing, even an end plate. And that is Russell's lap ruined as he now looks for a gap in the traffic there. Then and he even smacks it into the wall. Didn't have enough lock on. And that's Russell's time in that car over. And he'll have to climb into the team car if he wants to spend the rest of the session. So a costly mistake there from George Russell. And that's the second yellow flag being brought out at the final corner there. As Rosenquist starts a lap. Jones now then stays 22nd at this stage. As now we look at Antonio Felix da Costa, who heads down the pit straight himself. And da Costa stays 18th for the moment in this session. So that's that for him at this stage. Still 10th. And in the cusp of the top 10 is Scott Dixon. No improvement for him at the moment. As let's have a look then. So Rosenquist now then going up through turn 2. So Rosenquist 500s down in the first sector there compared to Sebastian Vettel. And let's see what his last 2 sectors are going to be like, because every sector is different around this track. As we have just done the 26 3/4 minutes left in this mid-season test here at Austria at the Red Bull Ring. As Rosenquist now then flicks the car in through turn 5 as he's 2 tenths down in the second sector. So I don't know if Rosenquist is able to make an improvement, but we'll see what the Swedish driver is able to do as he will now come up towards the final 2 corners then. Rosenquist now then round the final corner and onto the pit straight, and let's see what Felix is able to do. Across the line he will go, and he stays in 7th place, still outpaced by teammate Antonio Giovinazzi at this stage, as Ocon is now out on track for Martini. As meantime, Leclerc getting out in front of Rosenquist. Looking at him, Rosenquist has already finished a lap. As we'll look at Ocon then, because he was the first of these group of cars to come out onto the track as he looks to make his next flying lap. Through the right-hander he will go, using quite a lot of curb on the outside there then before approaching the double left-hander. And now around he'll go, using quite a bit of curb on the outside before approaching turn 6 and 7. And now up towards the final 2 corners then goes Esteban Ocon. And let's see what he's able to do then on this lap. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Ocon as he now starts his next flying lap. Behind him is a Suomi car. Can't quite tell which Suomi car it is as they now head down towards turn 1. One of the Etihad cars is preparing to go out onto the track, as now heading down towards the Remus curve now then. Ocon going up towards Remus, and let's see what his first sector is like. And he is 4 tenths down off Vettel in the first sector, as the Frenchman now then heads down towards the left-hander on the track. Ocon now then approaching the right-hander and dropping down a few gears into that corner before approaching the double left-hander on the track. So now just flicking the car in, using quite a bit of curb on the outside. 9 tenths down in the second sector, so I don't think Ocon's looking at an improvement at this stage now then, as Ocon will now approach the final 2 corners on the track and in towards the final corner and onto the pit straight will go Markilov. Ocon. I don't know why I said Markilov there, but Ocon stays 15th without that. Kujala starting a lap. Nico Kari stays where he is at the moment. Nasser starting a lap there. Then here comes Charles Leclerc. Across the line goes the Monegasque driver and doesn't improve to stay in 2nd place at the moment on this lap, as Arjun Maini starting a lap himself. Carlos Sainz as well as is Giovinazzi and Newgarden now then across the line. to stay in 21st position. Here comes Hulkenberg now then, coming out of the final corner. And onto the pit straight he will go. Hulkenberg crosses the line to stay in 3rd place at this stage. Schwartzman starting a lap behind, currently 17th at this stage. Sebastian Vettel round the final 2 corners on the track, then he will go. As he'll now head down the pit straight. Is this going to be an improvement then for the German? Vettel across the line. No, he can't. Stays on 1:07.269 at the moment in this session. As Markelov is about to start a lap there then. Here comes Patrick Kajala coming up towards the final 2 corners there. And let's see what he is able to do as he comes around the final corner and onto the pit straight. And Kajala now then will cross the line. And Kajala stays in 8th place at this stage. Nasser staying in 14th at the moment in this session, in the shadow. So here comes Arjun Maini now then, round the final corner. And Maini now then is going to cross the line. And let's see what Maini is able to do. And Maini stays 19th at the moment. Sainz stays in 11th place. Giovinazzi staying in 6th place for the moment. As here comes Schwartzman now then, approaching the final corner. Onto the pit straight we will go, and Schwartzman crosses the line, and Schwartzman stays in 17th place at this stage. That's that at this stage. Here comes Artem Markelov up towards the final corner he will go. And let's see what Markelov is able to do now then as he heads around the final corner and onto the pit straight. And Markelov crosses the line and he stays where he is at the moment, which is P number 4 at the moment. And I have to think about the position number there for a second. Here is Valtteri Bottas in the Eldorado. He will now come up towards the Remus curve. And Bottas currently in 5th place at this stage. Anybody else on that? Well, Russell is, but it looks like it's going to get impeded by Markelov, who just put a pass on him there up towards Remus. Just over 21 minutes now remaining in this mid-season test here at Spielberg. We ride on board with George Russell in the Martini. And he just comes out of the right-hander before approaching the double left. And Russell now then flicking the car in the corner. Using quite a bit of curb on the outside. 2.2 seconds down in the 2nd sector that time around for George Russell. As he will now approach the final 2 corners we go. And let's see what Russell's able to do. How much time he's lost as a result. As he goes out of the final corner and onto the pit straight we will go. And Russell crosses the line to stay in 20th place at this stage. As in front of him Bottas has just started a lap in the Eldorado. Ricciardo, Ferrucci, Schumacher and Dixon starting that. We'll look now then at Valtteri Bottas. The sparks coming off the back of his Eldorado now then. Heading up towards Remus. Let's see what his first sector is going to be like. And he is 4 thousandths off in the first sector there for Valtteri Bottas. As he will now go up towards turn 3. And we'll see what Bottas is able to do. Around the right-hander he will go, using quite a lot of curb on the outside before approaching the double left-hander. And Bottas now then heading through that left-hander, using a lot of curb on the outside. 1/10 down that time in the 2nd sector. But is this going to be an improvement for the Finn? As 20 minutes now are remaining in this mid-season test. Through the final 2 corners then go Valtteri Bottas. Into the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go. And Bottas now then is going to cross the line. And I don't know why I did that. He stays in 5th place at this stage. So that's that there then. Ricciardo going up towards the final 2 corners. And you just said at the top, Vettel, the man that's currently top at the moment, has just gone back out onto the track. Ricciardo heading out of the final corner. And Ricciardo now then is going to cross the line. And he improves but stays in 16th place for the moment in this session. Ferrucci now then heads down the pit straight, and Ferrucci crosses the line to stay in 12th place for the moment. Schumacher stays 13th, so that's that for him. Jones crosses the line to start another lap. Newgarden also starting one as well, so both Mars Grand Prix cars starting their laps at the same time. I don't know if Newgarden's going to get held up by Jones at any point on that lap, but we will wait and see. Into the final corner then goes Scott Dixon as he'll head down the pit straight, and across the line he will go. And he goes up to 6th for that lap, so an improvement for Dixon to get up into the top 6. So an improvement there for the Kiwi as Ocon starts a lap. Da Costa also starts one as well, as Vettel is about to start a lap in the EMR, as is Kari. We now look at Felix Rosenqvist in the Bud Light line, flicking the car through the final 2 corners. And let's see what Rosenqvist is able to do as he heads down the pit straight, and across the line goes the Swede, and he doesn't improve. Rosenqvist staying in P8 at the moment now. Then Leclerc about to start a lap as Ferrucci and Schumacher going back in. Here comes Jones. I don't know if he's holding up his teammate Newgarden behind, but it looks like there's a bit of a gap between the pair of them, so it doesn't look like they're affecting each other on these runs. Up towards the final corner then we go, and onto the pit straight goes Ed Jones as he will now cross the line, and Jones stays in 22nd and Newgarden stays second to last. So still the Mars Grand Prix cars bringing up the back rows at this stage. Ocon now then going up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And let's see what Esteban is able to do. Up towards the final corner then goes Ocon as he will now head down the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and Ocon stays in 15th place for the moment. And so that's that really. As here comes Sebastian Vettel, and across the line is going to be an improvement. No, he doesn't improve by 600ths of a second, so stays on a 1 minute 7.269 at the moment in this session. Kari stays at the moment in P10 at the moment, still in the cusp of the top 10 at the moment is Nico Kari. As we now look at Charles Leclerc in the Etihad. Through the final 2 corners on the track he goes. Can he find some time perhaps to try and get in front of Sebastian Vettel? Leclerc going across the line, and let's see, can he improve? Nope, stays second on that lap there then. As Kajala starts a lap behind him at this stage. Newgarden in fact staying out for another lap it appears, bringing the tight fuel there, but he still doesn't improve, stays 21st. Look like Jones held him up there on his lap, so that's that. As now we look at Giovinazzi, who's about to start a lap quite soon along with Schwartzman. Kajala now then we will look at in the Suomi, goes up through Remus, 1/10 down in the first sector, as he will now go up towards turn number 3 and 4, and that is a shadow, I believe, that's behind him at the moment of Felipe Nasr. It looks like a red helmet from what I can see. As Kajala now then up towards turns 5 and 6 he'll go on the track. Just over 16 minutes now then remaining in the session. We are 12 minutes away from the 5 o'clock mark. 3/10 down in the second sector is Patrick Kajala, and whether he's on for an improvement or not, I do not know. Kajala now then through the second to last corner, and Kajala now then around the final corner and onto the pit straight, and across the line he will go. He stays 9th, no improvement for him there. Then Nasr has just started a lap there behind him in the shadow, as is Arjun Maini, and Hulkenberg's about to start one. Here comes Giovinazzi on the lap. Gio currently 7th ahead of teammate Rosenqvist, and let's see what Gio is able to do then on this lap as he'll come up towards the double left-hander now then, and Giovinazzi currently 1/10 down in the second sector there then. So looking at that, it looks like Gio is on for an improvement unless he loses time in the last sector, just like his teammate did a little earlier on. I don't know whether the Bud Light line is set up for the last sector or not. As he heads down the pit straight, Giovinazzi crosses the line, no improvement, stays 7th for the moment in this session. So now we look at Robert Schwartzman in the Monster as he heads down the pit straight. Schwartzman crosses the line, and Schwartzman stays 17th for the moment in this session. As we look at Felipe Nasr coming out of the final corner and onto the pit straight we go. Nasr crosses the line, and Nasr stays in 14th place as Sainz starts a lap going up towards turn 1. So his teammate starting a lap just behind Nasr. That's Markilov starting a lap, as is Bottas and Ricciardo. Here comes Hulkenberg, and he's 700s down in the second sector. Is this going to be an improvement then for Nico Hülkenberg? Let's wait and see, as he now goes up towards the final 2 corners on the track. And Hülkenberg now then around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the German, and Hülkenberg crosses the line and stays in third. No improvement. Looks like he lost some time there in the last sector. Ferrucci starts a lap behind him at the moment, and now we look at Carlos Sainz Jr. in the shadow, and 1.4 seconds off in the second sector. I don't know whether NASA held him up there, but Sainz is way off his best time there then. Don't know if he's made a mistake somewhere or NASA held him up quite rapidly, but Sainz now then finding himself 1.4 seconds off the pace in the second sector. And let's see what Sainz does on this lap anyway, as he will now cross the line, and Sainz stays in 11th place with that lap there then, as Schumacher starts a lap in the AMP, as Dixon starts a lap, as Artem Markelov crosses the line to stay in 4th place for the moment. No improvement for the Russian, as 5th still sorry for Valtteri Bottas in this session. Daniel Ricciardo crosses the line to improve but stay 16th for the moment. The Aussie staying where he is but improving on his best time. Here comes the American teenager of Santino Ferrucci, and let's see what Ferrucci is able to do now then, as he goes down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and he stays in 12th place at the moment, still outpacing teammate Schumacher at this stage. Here comes George Russell heading down the pit straight, and Russell crosses the line to stay in Russell stays in 20th at the moment in this session, as Jones now then starts a lap. And as we'll now look at Mick Schumacher in the AMP, he'll head up towards the final 2 corners on the track, as we have just over 12 minutes of the session remaining. And let's see what Schumacher can do. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight will go. Sainz gets the checkered flag next to his name, so his session is coming to a close. Schumacher stays 13th. Dixon stays in 6th place for the moment. And so that's that for him now then. As also getting the checkered flag next to his name is Artem Markelov. He's done for the rest of the day. Kari out on track to start a lap soon. We'll look at Ed Jones then. He's the next guy on a lap. And now Valtteri Bottas has now got the checkered flag next to his name, so his session has now come to a close. So Jones now then approaches the final 4 corners, 1.7 seconds down in the second sector. I don't think the Emirates driver is on for an improvement. Now Santino Ferrucci gets the checkered flag next to his name, so the young American finishes for the rest of the day. And let's see what Jones is able to do now then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight, and Jones is going to cross the line, and Jones stays 22nd and last with that lap. And so that's that for him. As Schumacher now on his flying lap, he's getting held up by Antonio Felix da Costa. Da Costa preparing to start his next flying lap, and in fact Schumacher was going back into the pits. I didn't realise he had a pit symbol next to him. The sun bright trying to pretty much cover that up essentially, so I do apologise for that. We'll now look at Nico Kari then, as Rosenquist in front is about to start a lap. Another man that's now got the checkered flag next to his name is Mick Schumacher and Scott Dixon, so those two are finished for the day. Just under 11 minutes of the session remaining in this mid-season test here at Spielberg. And Kari now then up towards the final 2 corners on the track, and let's see what Kari is able to do. The young Finn out of the final corner and onto the pit straight, and across the line then goes Nico Kari, and Kari stays in 10th at the moment, still behind teammate Patrick Kajala. Nat, as you just saw there, Hulkenberg just going into view as he was just coming out onto the track. Ocon doesn't improve. Leclerc starts the lap, but has Ocon affected it as a result? We'll wait and see. As Vettel about to start probably his final flying lap, we'll wait and see. Da Costa now then, Antonio Felix da Costa in the GRM approaches the final 2 corners, and let's see what he is able to do then. Da Costa around the final corner and onto the pit straight he will go, as he will now cross the line, and Da Costa stays in 18th position. Also another man now who gets the checkered flag next to his name is Ed Jones. He's now finished for the day. Felix Rosenquist down the pit straight and across the line he will go, and he stays in 8th place with that lap, as Kajala now then starts his next flying lap. Hulkenberg about to start one, as is Nasser. Here comes Leclerc, second sector, 2 tenths down, so it appears that Jones affected his flying lap there then. Sorry, it wasn't Jones, it was Ocon, wasn't it? I do apologise. As wrong team beginning with M. So in towards the final 2 corners then goes Charles Leclerc. And let's see if the Monegasque driver is able to pull back something in the last sector. And he doesn't. He stays second place. Nico Kari now getting the checkered flag next to his name, so he's done for the rest of the day. So here's Sebastian Vettel. Is Arjun Maney in front holding him up? I wouldn't be surprised. Vettel crosses the line with Maney starting a lap. Vettel stays on 1 minute 7.269 on possibly his final flying lap. Who knows really? We'll wait and see. Ocon now gets the checkered flag to his name. Esteban Ocon done for the rest of the day. Joseph Newgarden stays 21st. No improvement for him, as Ocon's teammate Russell is coming out onto the track. Schwartzman starting a lap. Here comes Patrick Kajala now then, heading through the final 2 corners on the track. Antonio Felix da Costa is now done for the day. He's got the checkered flag next to his name, as Kajala crosses the line. Kajala staying in 9th place, and I wonder if that's will be him done for the rest of the afternoon. Just over 8 minutes now remaining in his mid-season test. Hulkenberg now then up towards the final corner he will go, and across the line goes the German. And Hulkenberg now then does not improve and stays in 3rd place with that lap. Felix Rosenquist is done for the day. He's got the checkered flag now next to his name. Felipe Nasser, sorry, not Massa. Nasser doesn't improve. He stays 14th. I was wondering when the day would happen when I'd do that. Here comes Arjun Mania. I wouldn't be surprised if Vettel tried to impede him there a little bit, trying to get past him there to get back into the pits. So he crosses the line and does not improve. Charles Leclerc gets the checkered flag next to his name, so he's done for the rest of the day. And so that's him finished. And also getting the checkered flag now is Sebastian Vettel. He's now finished for the rest of the day, the man at the top. So Leclerc will not be able to challenge him now then. As Newgarden gets the checkered flag now next to his name. Joseph Newgarden done for the rest of the day. Schwartzman doesn't improve and stays where he is. As Ricardo starting a lap pretty soon. So we'll look at George Russell now then, as Patrick Kajala gets the checkered flag next to his name. He's done for the rest of the day. So he's now finished. And going out of the Remus curve then goes George Russell. 5 tenths down in the 1st sector he goes, as he will now approach turn number 3 on the track. And now Nico Hulkenberg now getting the checkered flag next to his name. He's done for the rest of the day, as now Felipe Nasser gets it next to his name. So Nasser's done for the rest of the day now then. As we go around the left-hander, Russell 1.3 seconds down in the 2nd sector. I don't think Russell is going to be on for an improvement, the man that currently leads the Drivers' Championship in GP2. But we will wait and see. As Russell now then around the final 2 corners on the track he'll go, and the championship leader in GP2, is he able to pull something back in the last sector, as somebody else's name I think got the checkered flag next to their names. Maney gets the checkered flag, as does Russell. Didn't improve there, as I was just about to say. Giovinazzi now gets the checkered flag next to his name, and I wouldn't be surprised if the session will be finishing quite early as a result. Daniel Ricciardo now then up towards the final 2 corners on the track. Then we go, and Ricciardo is going to cross the line. Let's see what the Australian can do. And Ricciardo does not improve. He stays 16th for the session. And I think that's that. These 2 appear to be finished now for the rest of the day, unless somebody comes in to change tyres and fuel and puts on some fuel to do some final few laps. But I think that will be it for this mid-season test. There's nobody else in the pit lane. It's just Russell and Ricciardo that's out on track, and they're both coming back into the pits this lap. So I think as a result, that will be the end of the session then. So we will wait and see when Ricciardo goes into pit lane to see if that will be true or not. But that's that. Russell in the pits now then. So now Ricciardo going through the last few corners then on the track, and we'll be seeing Ricciardo going back into the pits. We've now reached the 5 o'clock mark now then in this session, and we'll be seeing him going into the pits this lap. And as he now pulls into pits, I think it said Russell got the checkered flag next to his name, but we will double check as soon as Ricciardo goes back in. There's no Russell out in the pit lane, so I believe he'll be done now then for the rest of the session. And is Ricciardo going to be finished now then in the GRM? We will wait and see. Would it cut back to the track, just to an outside shot of the track? And we will wait and see. And it does. So there you have it then. The mid-season test has come to an end. Quite early, must be said. Not surprising, considering it is a short track. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it for the mid-season test. So as a result, here is the results here at Spielberg. Vettel was fastest with Leclerc second, Hulkenberg third, Markelov fourth, Bottas fifth, Dixon in sixth, Giovinazzi seventh, Rosenquist in eighth, with Kajala ninth, Kari 10th, Sainz 11th, Ferrucci 12th, Schumacher 13th, Nasser 14th, Ocon 15th, Ricciardo 16th, Schwartzman 17th, Da Costa in 18th, with Maney 19th, Russell 20th, Newgarden 21st, and Jones in 22nd. What I'm going to do now is press the escape button and accelerate the time if that is an option. It doesn't look like there is an option for that, so I'll return back to the cockpit then. I thought there was for practice session, but clearly they are not an option, so that is that then really. So there you have it then, guys. That is it for the end of season test. So if you only just joined us late on then, a reminder of what the field finished up then. As you can see on the left of your screen, in fact I don't need the picture, in fact I don't know why I loaded that up. It was Sebastian Vettel who finished fastest, with Charles Leclerc second, Nico Hulkenberg third, Artem Markelov fourth, Valtteri Bottas in fifth, Scott Dixon sixth, Antonio Giovinazzi seventh, Felix Rosenquist eighth, Patrick Kajala ninth, Nico Kari 10th, Carlos Sainz Jr. in 11th, with Santino Ferrucci 12th, Mick Schumacher 13th, Felipe Nasser 14th, Esteban Ocon in 15th, with Daniel Ricciardo 16th, Robert Schwartzman in 17th, Antonio Felix da Costa 18th, Arjun Maney 19th, George Russell 20th, Joseph Newgarden 21st, and Ed Jones in 22nd position. So there you have it then, guys. That has been it for the mid-season test here at Spielberg. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been quite an interesting mid-season test, and hopefully the teams have learnt some things before going into the American races. So that's been it for the mid-season test here at the Red Bull Ring. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, next weekend at the United States Grand Prix at Austin, Texas, at the Circuit of the Americas. So that's that then, really. So we will be making a first of 2 stops to the American continent. No GP2 or GP3 for next weekend. It is just going to be the top class for the next 2 weekends in USA and Mexico. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. So thank you very much for watching. I've been JWF1, and I will see you guys next weekend at the United States Grand Prix in Austin. Until then, take care, and I'll see you at COTA next weekend. Take care.